The content presented in this podcast and YouTube show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health or a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard or seen on this show. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The host, guest, and producers of this show are not responsible for any adverse effects resulting from your use of or reliance on any information presented.
Andrea, can you hear us?
Many years ago, I died for 26 seconds. There are so many people in this world that have experienced life events that have led to their soul purpose. Wake Up Your Soul with Andrea will bring you these significant life events that demonstrate how to use those moments for guidance and life purpose. These are our stories. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wake Up Your Soul with Andrea Lynn. Today's guests are a very, very special guest, and I am honored to have them here with me today. Let's welcome Matthew and Liz Hammond.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I'm honored to have them here today because you guys embody exactly what I'm trying to deliver with my show, which is hope. I think we are in this time where there's a lot of uncertainties and people don't know what to do with that. And they need hope now more than ever. And your story delivers that in so many different ways. But I wanted to tell you guys how I actually struggled greatly to reach out to you. But I prayed about it and I trusted that if this was in alignment for both of us, it would happen. And here we are.
And it was. And thank you for praying about it because prayer is the most powerful form of communication. I mean, I think it's one of the things that we've been learning more. It's something we've always relied on, but when you're relying on prayer just to get through the day, just so you can breathe, so you can eat, so you can move on, you realize that it's the central way of being. It's not just a devotional act. It's not just asking God for something. It's an actual way of being. So I'm grateful that prayer led you to this point.
I want to talk about that point for a second where we pray for things and then they don't come.
Mm-hmm.
So we think.
Yeah.
Right? It's so we think.
True. So we think.
Yeah.
They come in ways sometimes that we think it's going to come a certain way and then it comes in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And then we recognize, well, that's what it was, but it did not come in the form that I thought that it was going to come in.
What makes you realize that, thank God you aren't the one running the universe. Because if it was up to us, it would be far more self-constrained and myopic. But prayer is like opening us up to the way that God thinks about things and the way that God evolves our creation, unfolds it in all time frames. So for me, prayer is like, okay, God, I'm your vessel. Yeah. Tell me what to do. And it's not always going to be what we want, but it will always irrefutably be what we need.
Yeah, it's God's will, not my will, but God's will.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one. That's the hardest thing in the modern era because it's all about me. It's all about my dreams and my desires, my vision board. We're all for vision boards, but maybe a prayerfully led vision board.
That's very much how I lead my life. I do what I feel called to do, and doing the podcast and the show, it's just something that's been on my heart for a long time, just speaking out in general. I've suffered a lot in my life, a lot of different challenges, mental health challenges, but a lot of health challenges to the point where the doctor said, it looks like you have ALS. And that was really what led me to that's a whole nother episode.
That's the wake up, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was the big wake up call.
Yeah. When you're facing death's door,
Mm-hmm.
everything changes. And that's something I do want to get into with you guys, because I think there's a lesson for people to be learned here without them having to get as far as we've all gotten. And I feel like that's part of my purpose is I can share these lessons without having to make them walk through all of that. And some may say that's God's work. And I don't believe that I'm trying to do God's job. I believe that he has walked me through all these different experiences so that I can show people and let them shadow me so that they don't have to have things be as difficult as they were for me, because not everybody is equipped with the same strengths. They're just not. And I think that's why we are collectively together.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. I mean, we've all been given different gifts. And again, thank God for that. We don't want to all be good at the same thing, right? We all get to meet each other's needs. And, we're big believers in fellowship. And when I mean, not just at a church, I mean, I'm talking like the greater fellowship of humankind. And that whoever you come across in that moment, there's a blessing waiting to happen. If you're awake to it, if you're alert to it, if you're receptive to it, there's a blessing. And it may not be you blessing them, and they may be doing that for you and delivering a message that they need to deliver, just not knowing that they had to do that. So to be receptive in those moments is really important.
And I believe everybody crosses paths with one another for a reason, but some of us are so guarded and shut down that we miss out on the opportunity that's meant to be had there. I one time had somebody say to me, she's like, gosh, every time I talk to you, you tell me some crazy story about somebody you met and they share all this stuff about their life with you. But that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because people very easily open up to me, because I also very easily open up to others.
Yeah,
And
you give them permission. Right.
and that's a gift of mine, and I know it.
Yeah.
And so I'm using it.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I feel like in each human being has been placed this gift. In some, it's really buried because of past experience, and so they've shut down as a coping mechanism.
Yes.
But it's always there, wanting to emerge, and it just takes the right circumstance. And sometimes it takes an emergency. Sometimes it takes something where you're at the door of death before it really awakens it. And we don't want that to happen with everybody, but if it has to happen, that's the way it works.
So what would you say to people that know they're at a place of needing so much help, and they know it's going to end badly if they don't get it, but they just don't know what to do?
I think that's a moment that calls for surrender. It's a moment where your life has led you to that point, and this is where you get to really open to God. You get to say, all right, what do I need to say? What do I need to do? And if you just ask that open-ended question, you will be led. It may not happen in that moment, but it will. And just keep asking that question. What do you want, God? What do you want me to do?
This is where I always say to give that quiet space in your life. Like give yourself that.
Yeah, it's so important to listen to the still small voice.
You're
meditate.
really good at quietude. I mean, when I met you, Liz was really into meditation. So we've been together for almost 20 years, and she was amazing at quietude and being still. And it's one of the things I fell in love with you about, because I'm a very extroverted guy. So
I feel like being quiet is where you get the answers that you need.
Yeah, I mean, how do you hear something if you're busy rattling off a to-do list, or even just like listening to music? Sometimes things will come in, but you have to give it the space to come in.
Yeah, it's funny. So I am a musician. I'm a songwriter. I teach songwriting workshops all around the United States, and I've recorded quite a bit and produced. And yet when I walk through a mall, I don't want to hear anything. When I go through a store, I get tired of hearing the same music played. Like when you met me, you left. You don't listen to music a whole lot.
I was like, that's weird.
I go,
You're a
because
musician.
if I'm quiet, I can hear the next song I'm going to write. So I love silence in between songs. So
I'm the same. In the car, sometimes I like music, and then sometimes I need the thinking time.
yeah, so here we are in a world where every moment can be filled with binge watching, right?
Yes.
With
our phones,
right? So the technology has enabled us to do something like this, which is great. We're able to keep in connection with each other across the world. That's great. But we haven't learned how to clear out the spaces, so there's nothing for a bit. So there's just that
And we have to do that so that we can stay on our soul's path. I really believe we are put here on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we do that if, like you're saying, we just constantly stay busy? It is so easy to do.
Yeah, I feel like the being able to be still and listen is really what's helped me through this,
Mm.
because every morning I'm still and quiet and listening and just connecting with Malaya, and I feel her every day all around me in so many different signs. I mean, we've had over 100 signs probably from her, which has been
We've been
incredible.
documenting them, and then
And
we're over 100.
and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I wouldn't be receiving all of this if I weren't quiet
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
listening.
It's not
And it's not
possible.
possible.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
So let's get into that then.
Yeah, the big event.
We'll start with 4th of July.
Mm.
You
Mhm.
celebrate 4th of July. Your one daughter has a friend over, right?
Yeah, Malaya had her best friend over. They were together for the first time in quite some time, and that was significant, not knowing that that would be their last moment together. And then our youngest daughter had her best friend visiting from Sacramento, where we used to live, and she was going to be going to this Christian camp that she'd heard us go to for 8 years and was really curious about it. It's an amazing place in the Ozarks. And we've taken this trip so many times. So our plan was we'll leave early in the morning so we can get our Malaya and her brother Khalil, who's just 18 months younger. He was going to train to be a counselor. Malaya was going to be a paid counselor. I think her whole life had been leading to this. So she's an amazing counselor, so good with the younger kids. And yeah, and it was a 4th of July unlike any I remember. It was raining, so we kind of got rained out. We live on the river. We were going to go out in a jet ski, and the fireworks were canceled. And we were monitoring the storm system and making sure it was going to be a safe route. And the storm system was north in Burnett. We live in Marble Falls. And so we thought, well, we'll go east of it and wrap around it and get to Dallas. And there it was clear sailing from there. And so it was a trip that we've made many, many years in different weather conditions. It wasn't torrential rain. We wouldn't have left if it was.
Yeah, and what we didn't realize is that the wall of water that was pouring down up in the Burnett area was what was then coming down river and going across where we were, because it was raining, but it wasn't
No, it wasn't
raining
torrential.
hard.
And this bridge that we were driving across was a dry creek. It was about 25, 30 feet above what had always been a dry creek since we've lived here for nearly 5 years. In fact, people says, I don't remember the last time I saw water in Cow Creek. And that bridge had been there for 70 years. So it's one thing, it was a low water crossing that flooded. We would have turned around. We wouldn't be here right now. But we just happened to be the first vehicle to reach this bridge.
So this is July 5th.
This is the next morning at 5 a.m. We left really early. Yeah.
Okay. You left early in the morning. It's dark out.
It's dark,
It's
and
really
we had
dark.
to get there. Our goal was to get to Missouri by mid-afternoon. And a couple of things happened. And we're a singing family. And so, Malaya started singing this wonderful hymn that many denominations know. It's It Is Well. It is well, it is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well with my soul. And it's about the Shunammite woman that Elisha visits, and she's childless, and he tells her, you're going to have a child next year. And she has this beautiful boy. He grows up. He's working in the fields when maybe 10, 11 years old. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden is stricken with a stroke or something. He falls dead. And it comes to her that if I can go find Elisha, he can heal my son. And so he goes to her and he says, is it well with your husband? Is it well with you? Is it well with your son? And most of us would answer, no, it's not. My son is dead. But she doesn't do that. She takes a pause and she says, it is well, which is like, how do you do that? And the whole song is about, when stormy seas are here, when things are going bad, do you have the trust in God to say, even in the midst of this, it is well? That's what we were singing. And Malaya started that. Malaya.
Did you guys feel, I just feel like sometimes before tragic times, there's like this weird stillness sometimes that we feel. I mean, did you guys feel anything in the car? Like when you're singing
Like this might prepare us for some catastrophe. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know, just some sort of calmness.
It did, because when we were singing Rise and Shine and Give God the Glory, and so that's the next song. We sang 3 different songs. Rise and Shine was the last one, and we got halfway through. And I just remember thinking in that moment, because Malaya opened up her camp book, because we sang some hymns, and then she said, well, I need to sing some songs from my camp book so I can practice. And she flipped to that one, and
it was the one and only one that we were able to get through before we hit the river.
Yeah, and it was all about the ark.
Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark. And so I did have a split second where I was like, it's kind of weird that we're singing this song
in the midst
and
of a
it's
storm.
raining.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, so I had that definitely like a split second of interesting choice for song. But besides that, I mean, we felt so prayed up because we were singing and praying in the car that we were going to get to camp and that everything was going to be well. And so I don't think we really had any doubts. We did have, like, the phone went off and had that beep for be cautious of the flood.
But if you live in Central Texas, that thing goes off all the time.
Yeah,
it becomes like the boy who cried wolf. It goes off all the time, and 99% of the time it doesn't bear true. But it
happened right before we hit the creek too. So it went off.
Like it went off before we left. Yeah.
And I don't even know if in that moment we had been like, oh, it's going off. So now what do we pull over? Like, what do we do?
And you thought you were already outrunning the storm anyway.
Right.
So you're probably like, okay, it's going off, but we're headed in the right and best direction.
We're heading around
in
it
the safe
instead
direction,
of through
a direction
it.
that we've taken more times than we can count, across a bridge that had been there for 70 years. There was no reason for us to be concerned. And then as Malaya and Liz, and I think it was Opal. Opal is Soraya's best friend who was with us. So we had our family of 5 and Opal for her first time. And, you know, her mom had been with us and said goodbye early in the morning and sent her off with the idea that she would get to camp safely with us. And
did Opal's mom feel anything? Have you guys talked about that? Like that morning, was there?
We've talked about it. What did Susan?
Have. She said that she would have. What she said to me that she wishes she would have told us not to go.
She had a feeling.
She might have had a feeling. She was also tracking us with her phone, and so when she saw that the dot went off of the road and was in the river, she was just like, "What is going on?" And that's actually what was happening. We were in the river. So I mean, I haven't had that conversation with her. Like, did you feel like this was going to happen? But you know, I
just
don't know.
feel there were things that prepared us, because to sing It Is Well and then the camp song, Rise and Shine, all about Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
And that God was there all along. And so as they were singing the second or third verse of this, I come down, and had the water been lower, I would have seen that the bridge was out, but the water was equal with where the bridge should have been. And so it looked in the dark like it was one continuous line until I got close enough. And by the time I saw it was water, I tried to apply my brakes. I was going under speed as it was because of the weather, but still I couldn't. And I went up over a buckled piece of concrete, remnant of the bridge, went up and then into the river. And while I was going up, I knew what we needed to do. Like, I yelled, "Get your windows down, quick, get out as soon as you can," before we hit the water. So I got my window down. My son, Khalil, was sitting next to me. Liz was in the back with the third row with Soraya, who had not been feeling well that night before. She'd been throwing up. So she had a blanket around her, asleep. And Opal was behind me, and Malaya was on the side door. And as we hit the water, miraculously, Malaya got her door open. I got my window open. Malaya was the first one out. And then I was out my window. Liz followed me out my window. And the kids followed Malaya. I mean, Opal had to swim through the door to get out. And she kept her cell phone on her, which is a miracle.
In that moment, were you guys trying to help anybody, or was it just like, help yourself?
It was get out. Everyone get. I just knew, because if I reached back, I would have been caught. I just yelled with
He
my
yelled
loudest
for
voice.
everybody to get out, get your windows down, get out now. And then we just followed his orders. And I mean, it's kind of like they say in the airplane, you have to like,
Help yourself first.
yeah, help
Yeah.
yourself first. So it's really that's all we could think of in that moment was like, we have to save ourselves.
Yeah.
Except for you, I think you were more on alert of
Yeah, because
where
once I
everyone
got
was.
out, I was in the water, and my head never went below water. And the first one I saw was Malaya. She was ahead of me about 5 yards, and she's a trained lifeguard, knew to flip on her back, and she was singing that song, "Rise and Shine." And so in my dad mind, I'm like, okay, she's good.
Yeah.
She's a trained lifeguard. She's the strongest swimmer of all the kids. She's singing this camp song. She's keeping herself calm. She's good. And I yelled, find a tree, because the water was level with tree line too. Like, grab a tree, grab a tree. I don't know if she heard me. I don't think she did. So then I look back and I see Liz, then I see Khalil, but I don't see Opal or Soraya. I later find out that Soraya was not far from Malaya. I just couldn't see her. And Soraya was the one who started singing the camp song, which made Malaya sing it. I thought Malaya chose to sing that on her own, but Soraya prompted her to do it. So Malaya and Soraya went downriver first. And I turned around, tried to cut to the bank and try to see if I could reach out to Liz. And I saw Khalil, but I didn't see Soraya. I didn't see Opal. So I thought they might still be in the van. And the next worst thing that happened was I felt something underneath me, and it was the van. And I reached down and tried to open anywhere, and it just happened to get the latch. I happened to get the latch, tried to pull it open, but it wouldn't open. And so I had to let it go because it was starting to pull me under. Yeah. Yeah. And each, you and Khalil and Soraya, all had near-death experiences. They were pulled under. Where?
Yeah, I was pulled under. All I remember is I jumped out the window because I saw that when he said, get your windows down, I saw he got his window down and I saw him go out. And so I just flew to the front
From the back of the van.
from the back and went out the window.
How much was the car submerged at this point?
It wasn't submerged when I flew forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got out with him, it wasn't under yet. So
It was on top of the water, but it was starting to do this. It was starting to go.
How fast did it go under?
pretty quickly because Malaya, since she opened her door, that allowed all the water to rush in from the river.
I would say 10, 15 seconds. I think
it went fast.
Went real
Wow.
fast.
Yeah.
But thankfully, she got it open before it took on water.
And thankfully, you had those few seconds with the concrete lifting the van up.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
I mean, if
all
we
those
would have
things
gone straight into the river
or flipped, it would have. Yeah,
or flipped.
all the emergency workers that met with us afterwards, how many of you made it out? Because they were mystified that any of us could have made it out. And I said, all 6 of us, and they just couldn't believe it. Like, that shouldn't have happened the way it went in. And you hear about other cases where vehicles were taken, like Captain Phillips, who was the fire chief, so he was a fire chief in the Marble Falls area who was off duty in his white Jeep and responding to, I think it was our call later on.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to cross the low water above, just upstream from us, and it swept his Jeep, and they still haven't found him. They found his Jeep, but they have not found him. Yeah. Yeah, it's really.
So what happened to you, Liz, when you got pulled under?
Yeah, so after I jumped out of the window, I went under then, but I came up quickly and I heard some yelling. I saw a couple of people, I don't know who it was. Somebody was still upriver from me, and then I got sucked underwater, and I saw a light, and it was pitch black. So I'm assuming that light was from God, because that's really all that it could have been. And I saw the light, and so I had that thought, and I'd swallowed a lot of water, and it went up my nose. So I felt it going into my brain, and I thought, oh, this is it. This must be it. I'm not going to make it through this. But then I had another thought come in that was like an angel thought that just said, Liz, relax.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I was a lifeguard in California, and that's one of the things that I was taught was when the wave crashes over you, you just have to relax until it smooths out, and then it's easy to come back up. But if you're freaking out and tumbling in the wave, that's not going to help you. So that's what I did. I just relaxed. And I felt the river because I was in like a whirlpool whirling around. And when I felt that stop and come to a more calm play, even though it wasn't calm, but it was more
It was
calm than that
relatively,
whirlpool. I swam up to the top and I immediately flipped on my back. And then I just quickly did the backstroke over to where Matthew was. And I heard him
Yeah.
say, grab a tree.
Yeah.
And I grabbed a tree,
I was
and,
able to
and he
grab her
happened to be
too.
there. He
Yeah.
grabbed me over to his tree.
Yeah.
And then Khalil was right there with us too, our son.
Okay.
And he had a similar experience where he got sucked under and water was just rushing all in his face and in his mouth, and his pillow floated by.
There was a
And
foam pillow, and it was his. It wasn't any other pillow. It just happened to come up at the right time. I say it happened.
Yes.
And it was a flotation device that actually gave him.
yeah, where he was able to grab onto his pillow and come up, and then he was able to make it over to a tree. And then Soraya, she went down the furthest, and she had her suitcase come up to her. And so she grabbed onto her suitcase, but then her suitcase took her over into the trees, but she ended up like under a root.
Getting sucked
she
under a
said,
root system where she
a
was
root
hooked
system,
and,
yeah,
and
and
caught.
under her suitcase. And she also had her life flashing before her eyes, and thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it through this. And then she's so strong-willed. And even though she was sick all night, she only got
Yeah.
maybe like 20 minutes of sleep that night. And she
She
had-
snapped too, as if there
yeah,
had been
she
no
just-
illness. Like
Yeah.
there was no relapse. She didn't go back. Whatever she was feeling was gone.
her adrenaline, fight or flight, was just like, no, this is not happening. I'm getting myself out of here. And so she said she just pulled herself up to the top.
Wow.
And
And
yeah,
eventually got to the
she-
side, to the bank, but further downriver. And she thought that she was the last surviving member of our family, which was a really difficult thing to think. But each of us had our journey of getting to the bank of the river. And I will tell you, there was this sense like, we're going to make it. I had this sense like, we're going to make it, even though it's 35 to 40 miles an hour of velocity and trees and pieces of concrete from houses that have been washed away going down river. I just felt like we're going to make it.
So this water was going.
Super. I've done whitewater rafting, in different areas of the United States. This was the roughest river this was the roughest river I've been in.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but the sense that we were being cared for, even in the midst of all of that, I just had to hold to that, and we did. I mean, without going
We
into further
did.
detail, we made it.
Yeah.
We made it to the side, and
I
we
mean-
all were able to finally meet up. I mean,
Opal was the furthest upriver. So when the three of us got out and got to the land, he wanted to go find the girls, Malaya and Soraya, and we didn't know where Opal was. So he went downriver, and Khalil and I went upriver, and then that's where we found Opal. She was on her phone on a tree. And the tree was still, there was still river on one side and the other. So she couldn't come to the land. So Khalil went out and grabbed her and brought her over to the land. And she just was on phone with dispatch and telling them.
and called 911.
Yeah,
So
called
holding onto the tree
911.
with one and calling 911 on the other at the age of 14.
Yeah. And she was so calm and speaking so eloquently to the dispatch that the dispatch was so impressed with.
She said
with
in
her.
25 years of this, she'd never encountered this and wanted to take her to lunch. So when Opal and her mom Susan went down to the airport, they had a meetup for lunch and got to meet in person.
Yeah.
That's really
It's
amazing.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Right.
So after we found Opal, we started, Khalil wanted to go back with his dad to try to find his sisters. And so we went back down that way, and we heard you scream, God is good. You screamed it out really loud, and we heard a faint sound of a scream.
Which was Soraya.
Which was Soraya.
And we had found it took maybe 20 minutes or so, but it was the longest 20 minutes. I was thinking I was looking for Malaya and Soraya, that they would be together.
Mm-hmm.
and ended up finding Soraya. I was so overjoyed about what led us to find each other. But then the next moment was the realization that Malaya wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that was really tough.
It's so incredible though, like all that you're already saying, how in these really difficult moments, most people would turn to swear words or anger or stress and frustration, and you're just turning to God.
Because it was felt like our lives depended on it, and nothing short of full devotion in that moment would do. You know, it wasn't like I have to really focus, like you are hyper focused, and to hyper focus on God, you know, the Lord of all creation that orders the stars and the planetary systems and our lives, to just completely give yourself to God in that way. You have this preternatural peace about it. Even though I was like yelling at the top of my voice for Malaya and Soraya, I just like, all right, God, you're my ears, you're my eyes, just lead me, just lead me, just lead me. And I know you had a very similar prayer.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be found.
Once we got to the car. Yeah, once we found Soraya, and we were all back together, we wanted to keep going to find Malaya, but that's when we saw a big spotlight on the road. And so we said, well, let's just go to the spotlight because they can help us find Malaya and they'll have gear, because we were barefoot. We were getting all cut up.
Yeah.
I stepped in fire ants. You know, I had chiggers all over me.
Which you don't feel in the moment.
Yeah, you don't feel it in the moment. Although I felt the fire ants, and I was but it's still, I was in so fight or flight that it didn't matter. I was like, my feet are burning, but we have to survive right now. So when we got to the car,
the car meaning the sheriff. The sheriff had arrived,
who had
and gave us a vehicle to have blankets because it was pretty cold at that point.
Yeah, he gave us some blankets and he gave us his car to sit in. And Matthew and Khalil wanted to still help and see what they could do to try to find Malaya. I just went into prayer mode in the car. And it's interesting because it went by really fast for me. We got to the car around 6:30. So we went in the river around 5:15. I'd say we got to that car around 6:30. And inside of the car, I just had to close my eyes and just start praying and listening to the still small voice and just go deep. And Soraya and Opal ended up falling asleep. I think they were just so wiped out from what had happened.
It was really helpful for you that you could just be in the moment and pray, not have to tend to them in that moment.
Yeah, and I prayed the whole time, and all of a sudden it was like 2:30 in the afternoon. So it was like I was somewhere else. I mean, I got up, to get water and to stretch my legs every once in a while. The car would get really hot, but most of the time I was just in prayer mode and just seeing the ark, because we were singing that song. We were here in this flood. And so the thing that came to me so strongly is, God, you have an ark for Malaya. Malaya is in the ark, and she's being protected. You're protecting her, and you're guarding her, and you're guiding her, and you're just wrapping her up in your love. And I know she's protected. And then I was talking to Malaya too and saying, Malaya, honey, just get to a safe space. Just start praying. Just go inward, and we're going to be there. We're going to find you. We're going to get to you. Don't worry. And I just stayed in that prayer. But then I had this other thought come in, and it was Malaya, who was singing Rise and Shine, and she had her hand up, and she's a lyrical dancer and ballet dancer and jazz, but it was like a lyrical twirl that she did in the water. I just saw her lifting her hands up, singing, giving God the glory, and I saw her do this spiral down into the water and just surrender to God, and God take her. And I felt this peace wash over me, and I felt this stillness, like I can't even describe it. It was just like complete peace and stillness. And I knew in that moment that she was no longer with us on this planet. And I didn't want to believe that. And so I was trying to cancel it out. I was like, nope, cancel clear. That didn't happen.
Yeah. I'm imagining it.
Yeah, that's not, I don't know what that thought was, but that's not what's happening.
She was kind enough not to tell me because I was in search mode. I mean, my prayers were just active. Just guide me to her. And I'm listening. And my son, Khalil, and I were just out there looking for her. I'm just glad that you did not share that with me in the
Yeah,
moment.
the
I
vision.
wasn't ready to
because
hear
it was
that.
such a vision that I had, and
Yeah.
I canceled it out. I went back to the ark, and just seeing her safe in this ark, in God's ark, that she was safe and cared for. And I prayed just that whole entire time until we had to leave. And then that night we went out on a search team.
Yeah.
We got back, we went to Faith Academy.
I'll have to ask though, how did you leave? How do you pull a mother and a father from that, knowing you still have a daughter out there?
They had boots on the ground by that time. They had boats, like swift boats out there. They had drones. And it started raining, insult to injury. By the time we got out, it actually started pouring down even heavier rain. So they couldn't put the drones up, and they had to pull those in. But they had the boats out. They had boots on the ground. And a second time, my son and I wanted to go out. They didn't want us to go. They're like, yeah, we don't want you guys being the next ones that we're trying to pull out. And so we had to acquiesce to that and come back. For me, it was the longest 7 hours of my life as we waited because where we were with the bridge out, there was another low water crossing before you get back to Faith Academy, which is a school that both Malaya and Khalil and Soraya for a little bit had gone to, even though they were homeschooling by this time. But we had a deep connection with that community, and that became the command and control center for the rescue. All the National Guard and sheriff and fire department, all of the resources were there in the parking lot. So by the time the low water crossing had subsided and we were able to get there, that was 7 hours later. So the
kids were hungry.
Yeah.
The girls had woken up and they were really
Right.
hungry, and
So they had supplies and
They had-
whatnot, and blankets and dry clothes.
and they wanted to get cleaned. It was
We
like
were
we had
just
that
full of river
gross muddy
debris.
water all
Yeah.
over us for all those hours. And
What were you telling the kids in this moment where their sister's still missing?
we're
gonna
gonna
find her.
find her. And they
And they-
all were like, we're finding her.
Yeah,
And
no one
she's
varied.
fine. Like
Not one of the children.
None of us.
It was
Mm-mm.
amazing.
No one was. They weren't even worried. They were like, that's it. We're going to find her. We know that she's safe. We
I do
know that she's
too.
protected.
I do too. Our son, who 16 years old, and he's a self-styled intellectual, likes to question everything, which is great.
Yeah.
I've highly encouraged that. His intellect is, I would say, stronger than his faith.
Okay.
He rose to the occasion. He's like, Dad, we're going to find her. Like, things came out of his mouth I was not used to hearing. Like, we're going to find her. Like, he never varied, which was just amazing for me to witness that for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it was very
And
comforting.
Soraya too. When we got home, we took some pictures of Malaya and put them out on our refrigerator, and she put all these sticky notes on the refrigerator, like, Malaya, you're gonna make it to green pastures, like God's got you. And just, it's just really this sweet, like, you're here to do great things. I love
we
you
didn't
so
have
much.
to encourage them. This just came out of them, of their own volition. That was really gratifying to see that in an emergency situation, that they allowed their faith to take the.
This is all such a testament, though, to your parenting and the way you guys have raised your children.
Thank you. It's a lot of work. If anyone who says it's easy,
It's a lot of work to be awesome.
Anyone who says it's easy being a good, just a parent, but then trying to be a good parent, an effective parent, it's a lot. But again, it starts with so much of it's surrender. It's like, all right, wait a minute. We actually didn't create these babies that grew. I mean, they came through us, but they were created by God. They were created by a deeper divine order. So maybe to the point that we surrender to that and let that work through us as parents, that takes some of the pressure off and the anxiety.
Yeah.
Because if you try to micromanage that process, it does not work. It does not work at all. Yeah. So
you're back at Faith Academy.
yeah, so strange, this place that we dropped our kids off so many times, and teachers and the principal and the athletic director, who we're all really close to, were there in a support capacity. All the parents and fellow students, friends of theirs, were there to volunteer and knowing the situation. And we just could not have been more kind and more compassionate and nurturing. And just knowing, saying, hey, when they tell you they're praying about this, you know that they mean what they say. It's not just a,
Yeah.
a token gesture.
Yeah. The girls took a shower. We got some snacks, although I didn't eat anything. I couldn't, like, my stomach was so filled up with the
With
lake,
river
with
water.
river water,
Yeah.
like I could not even eat. I just wanted water. I just felt so dehydrated. I just couldn't stop pounding water. The girls ended up taking a shower, and I remember we were sitting out on the bench, and this is one of the first signs I received from Malaya, was we were sitting on that bench, and the rain started pouring again. It was just dumping at Faith Academy, so we couldn't leave. We were ready to go home, but we couldn't. And I was sitting there, and I saw on the concrete in front of us, the water was starting to flood the front porch area of the office. And water was coming from the left and from the right, and it came together and it formed a heart.
Oh,
And
Like
then,
a perfect heart.
and yeah, it had formed this heart, and then it closed up, and I looked at it, and I just had this mom feeling of that little heart was from Malaya telling me that she was okay. Because that's the other thing that I didn't mention when I was in the prayer and I did have that vision. Right after I had the vision, she yelled out to me. It was like she's like screamed right here in my ear. She said, "Mom, I'm okay. Mom, I'm okay." And I saw a heart. I saw in my vision, it was like this pulsating heart coming at me. And then that's when I was cancel clearing it, not wanting to see any of that. So when we were sitting at Faith Academy and I did see that heart come in, I kept wanting it to be like, okay, she's sending me signs that she's okay, that she's still here and we need to find her. But looking back, it's like there were all these signs showing me that she's gone to spirit, and that was one of them. Yeah. And that night, what did you want to say?
So,
Something?
the official search ended at 8 p.m. with sundown, and they'll resume the next morning. As parents, like, well, we can't stop. And because they're not out there, they're not going to stop you from going. So we had a search party that went past 8 p.m., went past the barricades, parked, went downriver on both sides. And we're there till like 1:30 in the morning.
was it still raining at this point?
No, it stopped raining at this point. So there was no rain. It was just about wearing the kind of gear, because you'd walk and sometimes you'd sink into all the different layers of debris. But the fact that we had 30 to 40 people show up said so much of their love for our family and for Malaya, but also just this sense of community, and before even that happened, there was a couple families out there that we didn't even know. They just went of their own volition. And one of the families, the Enterline family, found Opal's backpack. I mean, and you probably heard the story. In the backpack, this is a great story, right? So in the backpack where, Opal's an avid reader, and she had in there her first Bible that she's had. She's recently come to reading the Bible, she and her family, and going to a Christian camp. She wanted to have it with her. So the book, it was The Hunger Games. And there was The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which is a story of a girl who goes down to the bottom of the sea and goes into the spirit world and goes through these adventures, works her way back, proves herself, and she has a chance to return back to the land of the living, her family, and she makes the choice to do so. And we thought, of all the books, this is great. Malaya's coming back to us. But that was the least of all the signs, because in between these books that were waterlogged and covered in river debris was the Bible. And it was about maybe this size, faux leather, gold leaf pages, really thin, paper thin. And Opal pulls it out. She goes, "There's not a drop of water on this." And she keeps leafing through it. There's no water.
Flipped
it's not
through it, like just flipping through a book, and
like
it's
surely there's
completely
one
dry.
page, not a drop of water. And it was, everything else around it had been waterlogged completely.
She will never not believe in God.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this Bible, I think she takes it with her wherever she goes now. But there's no way to explain it, because if it was in a waterproof bag, sure, but it wasn't. It was just wedged between these two books and not a drop of water. And you start feeling like, I feel like we're living scripture right now. There's the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these three Hebrew young men who are working for the king, and he sets out an edict, you have to worship me now, don't worship God. And of course, they're not going to listen to it. They're going to keep worshiping God. And someone tattles on them. They break the law, and they're cast into the fiery furnace, and they just keep praying. And King Nebuchadnezzar comes and says, wait a minute, they're still there, and they haven't incinerated. They haven't disintegrated. They're still there. Bring them out. And there wasn't a hair of their head that was singed. There wasn't the smell of smoke. And you read that, you're like, okay, well, maybe this is kind of metaphorical. Like, you think this is a couple thousand years ago. But then something like this happens, where the Bible that has not one drop of water on it, how do you explain that? And then, Liz, I mean, you had a read
And I
on
mean, the thought that came to me was just that God's word can never be destroyed,
Yeah.
and that we can never be destroyed.
No.
And Malaya was not destroyed. She lives on.
And these things that happen just it helps to buoy your faith.
Yes.
And
because your faith is going to be tested at this point, right? I mean,
severely.
If you weren't getting these signs,
severely,
it would be hard.
It's really hard because,
I can't imagine.
As we've gone one full day and there's no word of her. And then we go into Sunday on the 6th of July, second day. And I was so ready to get up early and go for the search. And my lovely wife turned off the alarm because she knew I hadn't slept at all for 24 hours. And that I had to overcome that sense of guilt when I woke up at 10 and I realized, oh my gosh, there are people out there already and I'm not there. I should be there. And she assured me, no, they're on the ground. You need to rest.
People are searching. You have to get some rest.
Yeah. And so then Khalil, my son, and I went back to Faith Academy, and a really kind helicopter pilot agreed to take us up above the ground there and go down to Cow Creek and go up and down just to see if we could see anything. And by this time, you could see the water was down to half of its volume. So it was rapidly going down now. And so this is hope. Okay, she's got to be there. We heard stories of a couple girls from Camp Mystic in Kerrville that were 30 feet up on a tree, clinging to a tree for a few days. So we thought that could be Malaya. Malaya might, all these stories just gave us some hope that we would find her. And then we came back from the helicopter, went to the command center to see the search map, the 8-mile search grid. And like, okay, we have 100 people on the ground covering this and this. And again, every sheriff, fire deputy, every rescue worker could not have been kinder. They're doing their duty, but they looked upon me as a father and my son as the brother with so much kindness. Like, this is beyond the ordinary. And you could tell they were also people of faith. Like, hey, we're praying with you. We're going to find her. Like, it's really helpful to hear that kind of thing when you're working in conjunction with all these people.
They're all praying along the way too. Before even going out for the search, they would pray.
It was really powerful to experience this. And so that gives you hope too. And then I talked to some of my friends and we're like, let's get a boat. Let's get a pontoon boat, because we haven't exhausted all of our options. We've been air, we've walked it. Let's go up the other side. Let's go up the river from Lake Travis and see if we can find her from there. And so this captain, out of 3 boat companies that were called on a Sunday, everything's closed down. All the docks have been closed because of the flood. And this fellow answers on a Sunday afternoon, and they explain, his name is Captain Andrew, lives in Point Venture. He goes, I'll be right there. No questions asked. Okay, we'd love to pay you for it. He goes, no, I won't take anything. Well, let us pay for the gas. No, I won't take a cent. He just shows up. It's an hour trip from where he is to get to where we are, to pick up 14 of us. And then we go out, and there's a huge debris field, like a hurricane had happened there. And he's steering through it miraculously. Like, we were all saying, listen, if it's too much, because this boat was relatively new. He's like, he goes, I bought a backup prop just in case. Like, he wasn't going to give up. This is the kind of people that kept stepping up for us. And as we were working our way upstream, we're calling Malaya, Malaya, and we finally get to a spot where the rapids are such, and it's shallow enough that the boat can't make it. So we have to stop. We found out the next day that we were 7 minutes downstream from where we found her the next morning. We were so close.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked around, and this is an area of the river that I had never seen. And all of us who traveled around different parts of the world, Liz and I lived in Thailand and Malaysia when Malaya was conceived overseas. That's why she's Malaya. Happened in Malaysia. And this area with ferns and waterfalls and the birds looked like Southeast Asia. It was so beautiful. We were like looking at each other, is this real? And we turned back. It's dark now. We turned back, and there's this double rainbow over the river, the most immaculate rainbow. And in between the double rainbow is the moon, which I've never seen. I've never seen the moon between a double rainbow.
No.
And everyone's like, we're going to find her. This is another sign.
Yeah. On the right track.
On the right track. Yeah. So we get back to our friends, Mickey and Nadia, who were really huge in helping to organize the search and supporting us. And Nadia has a friend who has a spiritual connection with God that allows her to see things like remote viewing. And she saw the coordinates for where Malaya was.
Mm-hmm.
And then another person felt the same thing, and then another, and they were completely unrelated with each other. We had 3 or 4 people say the same thing, the same area.
It was going to be in that area. At Hensel Christian Camp.
Yeah. It's the only Christian camp in the entire area at Lago Vista. If you follow Cow Creek down, it goes through all these turns before it dumps out into Lake Travis. It's the only Christian camp in the area called Hensel Youth Christian Camp. So we agreed we'd meet there the next morning. And Liz, you had a feeling too that we're going to find her tomorrow.
Yeah, I just knew. I mean, I got the message that we were going to find her that morning. And I knew it didn't have to take long. That's what the angel thought told me. You're finding her this morning, and it's not going to take long. And yeah, I just knew that.
Did you still feel at that point that you weren't going to find her alive?
Well, at that point, I was holding close to the girls who were found in the trees that had been there for 3 days, and that book, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and how she came back to her family. And so I was really clinging to those, even though on a deeper level, I knew already.
The signs kind of went both ways.
Yeah.
Like miracles do happen, but then the other sign is God is so real and also could be.
Yeah, and God's in control,
something
and in the end, God's in control, and God knows. God's got this, Right. So, so it's His story, and so I didn't know. I mean, I was clinging to that while also having this other feeling, but I'd really been renewed with hope for sure that we would find her alive.
Sent pictures of the rainbow.
All of this is like, okay, Malaya, and maybe I was just dreaming all of that, and it's not real, you know. So I really felt like maybe there was a chance that she would still be alive.
So on the morning of the 3rd day, we all meet up at Hensel. Our son Khalil stayed with Mickey and Nadia's family, and their sons and he are really good friends. And so he went with them. It's double the length of time to get there because the bridge is out. So you have to go all the way around to Cedar Park and come down. Was
this like the longest drive of your life?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. The longest drive, just knowing that, okay, we're going to find her. This is the morning. This is it. I stopped at an emergency center in Burnett that had a helicopter, and I went in and asked them, I said, listen, if you can you fly me right now? And they were so kind, like, listen, we would do it right now, but the fog layer is so low right now that we have to wait an hour and a half. And I said, well, I can get there faster by car. But I got their card, and if we found her alive, they could be there in 10 minutes to pick her up and get her to medical care if necessary. So it was nice to have that ready to go. So while I was doing that and driving, with 20 minutes to go, they found her. And we got the call.
Who found her?
This woman named Marchetta found her. And so Nadia, I'm not sure how many of them were there in a group, but a group got there around 6:30 in the morning, and then they had a little gathering powwow of who was going to go where
Yeah.
and to say a little prayer before they went. And
Because even though they had the coordinates that they were going by, it was still a sizable
it's
area.
like within
It's
300 feet. Is that right? I think it was in like the coordinates are like within 300 feet of the coordinates.
but in any
And
direction. So they had to split it
yeah,
up.
but Nadia wanted to go directly to the coordinates. So she said that people wanted to go over here and over here. And she's like, well, I'm going to the coordinates. And so she and somebody else went with her, and the Marchetta and Marchetta's husband. They are the ones that it's so incredible, really, because it's just this little, it's not that far from the camp. You walk down a little bit to the river, and there's a little path that winds in, and Malaya was just right there. And just
And across
held.
from her were 3 crosses on the hill, or 3
Yeah,
crosses.
there's 3 crosses on this beautiful bluff up
Yeah.
above, and she just was laying right below that on the other side, and just wrapped in cedar branches. And
Yeah.
from what I understand, from what Nadia said, she just looked so peaceful and beautiful.
So when I arrived, I saw my son sobbing uncontrollably and being consoled. I knew, and so I went to go see him, and people came to hug me, and I said, no, no, not now, not now. It's not over. I really didn't. I refused to believe that she was dead. I just refused to believe it. Just take me to her now. And so my son followed behind me, because he hadn't seen her yet. He had just been told, and I wanted to be with her. And so they took me down, and she was maybe 100 yards up from the river. And she was, as Liz described, she was like wrapped in these tender branches of cedar, angelic-like. And I laid down beside her and just put my hand right here. And I kissed her neck, and I just said, it's time to wake up. I believed that if Jesus could resurrect Lazarus and the daughter of Jairus, if Elisha could resurrect the son of the Shunammite woman, I could, through God's power, I could resurrect my daughter. I had no reason to believe it. We'd come this far.
Yeah.
And the men and women who were behind me witnessing this, because I don't even know what I said. All I know is I just kept praying out loud with the loudest voice. They told me it's one of the most beautiful things they've ever witnessed, because it wasn't me pleading with God. It was me saying, thank you, God. Thank you for what you have done. You've brought us to her, and now it's time to wake her up. And I just kept saying, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. And after a few minutes of that, she didn't stir. And then I had my Gethsemane moment, which is Jesus is in the garden before he's going to be apprehended and crucified. And he asks, if Jesus asked for a way out, like if this cup can pass from me, if there's a way that I can fulfill my obligation without being crucified, without having to leave my mother and my disciples and my friends who I am so close to, if there's a way that we then let this pass from me. And then he realizes, oh, no, not your will, not my will, but your be done, but yours, Father. And I had to finally say, Father, if it's your will that she is where she needs to be, I will let go. And I said that out loud, and I let her go. It was really hard. It was really, really hard. And my son witnessed this, and I just thought she looked so beautiful.
We want somebody to paint it. Nadia says maybe that we can find someone who is like you can tell them what it looks like and they can paint it or something, because she
Right.
said that it was just she
It was
looked
angelic.
like she said she looked like an angel, and she was so perfectly placed on the branches, and she just looked so beautiful. And
Some of the bracelets that she loved making,
her
bracelets
bracelets
were still on her, which is a miracle.
she didn't have her clothes on
No,
her anymore,
but the
but she had her
bracelets,
bracelets on her,
and she was
and
intact,
she was intact,
which
like
is a
her whole
miracle,
body
because
was
cars had
intact.
been, the van was turned upside down and smashed. They found the van not far from where we found her, and other vehicles and bikes were just twisted metal. And the fact that she was delivered intact we were on our way to a Christian camp in Missouri, and she ended up at a Christian camp in Lago Vista.
And then
It's
we
not
had
lost
some
on us.
friends say that, she was needed on the other side for all those Camp Mystic girls, that she was still being a counselor. just in a different way.
Yeah, we've had several people from, again, different, not related, just say, these girls that were dropped off by their families at Camp Mystic in Kerrville.
They needed the best counselor out there.
Yeah.
And they didn't
That's
get to see
Malaya.
their families again.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about your story this morning and thinking about so many miracles in this story. So many.
So many.
And then how come not one more?
Right.
And I really do believe there's a reason.
Yeah.
We believe that too. Yeah, she's doing bigger things from where she is right now than she could have done here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a deeper dimension beyond our physical senses. We're entrained and habituated to believe that what we see with our eyes and hear with our ears and all the five senses, and visible light the visible light is a very narrow band, and there's this huge electromagnetic spectrum of things we don't even see. We can use sensors to detect X-rays and gamma rays, but we think that this narrow band is everything, and it's just a very small part of it. It's significant, it's important, but it's not everything. And we have felt her presence. We have felt her presence in so many ways, and so many.
She's given us so many signs. So many signs.
And as you said, people are coming together in a way that they weren't before. People are making changes in their lives that they weren't before. And if she was still here with us, if this had not happened, this is a hard one to reconcile, because it's a major sacrifice on we do not want to be without our daughter. We feel like our family is far better with her than it is without. I know that. But in her making her transition to this next part of her existence, what it's done for so many people is irrefutable.
That was part of me wanting to reach out to you. I was this story needs to be heard more and more and more, because it shouldn't end with that day.
No.
And I really do believe that she was kind of like Jesus, or
she made the ultimate
I think
sacrifice.
She knew.
Yeah.
I think she knew. She kind of had that choice. I think it's like she's singing out and she's connecting with God, and it's like, yes, I'm going to surrender to you because I know you need me more there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel that too.
Yeah.
I mean, because we all had the moment, and Khalil too. I didn't really talk about his, but he had the moment too where he thought, this is it. We're not going to survive this. I'm going to die. And then he was like, no, I'm not good. Like,
Right.
Absolutely not. I'm not done here. And we all had that experience. And so Soraya was saying, well, did Malaya have that experience too? And just say she wanted to just go, and not be here with us. And why wouldn't she want to stay with us?
I think she knew,
Yeah.
the mission here was this, or the mission there is that, and she just knew her effect on the world was so much greater.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those of us left behind, I feel like we have the harder work. And not that she's not doing her own work, but it's harder because where she is, she knows. She has
She has
way
more
of-
perspective.
more perspective that we don't have. And for her youngest sister, Malaya was her best friend. And why would she choose not to be with us? It's easy to feel like she's been abandoned by her older sister, and that's been a tough one to work through and pray through.
But luckily, because of all the signs that we've been getting, it makes it so much easier, and so much easier for her to see, oh, I can still just talk to her, and she's right there. She's just behind the veil. She's so close to us, but we can't see her right now. And we can ask for little things, and they show up. Like, they're just showing up every single day. We talk to her, and we say goodnight to her at night, and we're shopping with it. When we're shopping with her, we're asking her, what do you think about this shirt, Malaya? Or, what do you think about this? And we can feel her, and we can even get little messages of what she would think, and or what she does think. And it's been so beautiful. So because Soraya has been able to witness all of these things along the way, it's been helping her so much.
Yeah.
And she's like, I get it. She's right here with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Just not in physical form.
Yeah. She's just not in physical form. Yeah.
Liz, I wanted to hear the story about the drawing as well.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it's just another miracle.
Yeah.
I know, it's another miracle. So this girl, McLean, who is in our son's class at Faith Academy, she came up to us after we did a night of worship for Malaya. And this was the Thursday
we found her on
after.
a Monday, so this is 3 days after we found her.
Mhm.
The
And
community
we were,
wanted to have a support for all the students who knew Malaya, like to help them in their grieving, and so we agreed to come and sing a little bit and talk
yeah,
with
we
them
sang
as well.
on stage, and it was after we got down off of the stage, and I saw she was so excited, and she had a big smile on her face, and she wanted to show this to us. And she came up, and it's this beautiful drawing of God's hands lifting up a girl with long brown hair out of swirling waters below.
Yeah.
And she drew this a week before the floods.
Yeah, she was in church so it was on the 29th of June. So this is like six days before the Saturday, before the 5th. And she had this vision. I've never had a vision in church like this. And I knew, because she's a sketcher, she's like, I sketched it. And I thought, well, maybe at first that was me. It was a metaphor for like a tough time that I'm maybe going through. That girl was me. I have long brown hair. And then the other thing that came to her was Isaiah, like something from Isaiah. But then she let it go.
Mhm.
And then 6 days later, when she heard about Malaya, she remembered the drawing, brought it out again. She realized, oh no, this is for Malaya.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
her
then,
mother said it was Isaiah 43. And to paraphrase, it was something like, for you have lifted me above swirling waters. You have called me your own. You know my name. I can never be separated from you,
Yeah.
God. It's this beautiful section
and
of
God has
Isaiah.
never left her,
Yeah.
never would leave her. And
And so she took the sketch and then made a larger painting drawing on canvas and then presented it to us that night with something that she wrote about it. And it was exquisite.
yeah, and for me, it almost completed the circle of the prayer that I had of Malaya being in the ark and God protecting her. So when she showed that to me, it just clicked.
It's the
It's
same
like,
vision.
oh my gosh. I was like, that was the prayer that I was having, is that she was in the ark, that she was protected in the ark and guided and guarded and like
Because the
held.
hands even form like an arc.
Yeah, it's like
this.
the hands are almost like a boat, above the water and lifting her up. And that was my vision, was that this ark was lifting her up and out of the waters and to the trees to safety, and that she's in the ark and protected. And it all made sense. I was like, it was God the whole time. God was the ark. God was lifting her up and out and taking her with him. And she has bigger work to do with him, So it was beautiful. And then there was another painting that we were given
After that.
after that. So that we were given that. And then the same night, we were also given this painting. And it's Jesus, and his hand is going down into the water, lifting out.
It's supposed to be
It's
Peter.
Peter, yeah.
When
Lifting
he was
Peter out
walking
of
on
the water.
But it's from the perspective, the painting is from you see
You're under the
Christ
water.
Jesus
Yeah.
out of the water. You see his face slightly, but the hand is thrust into the water, and you see the hand reaching for you. It's reaching for all of us.
Yeah.
And the
so-
pastor said, he said, 3 years ago, I was really led to this painting, and something told me to buy 2 of them, and I didn't know why. He goes, why would I buy 2? I only need 1, but the voice was persistent, so I bought it. And then he goes, now I know why. Now I know why I got a second one. He gives it to us. It hangs in our living room right now. This is the reminder of how.
And it was another full circle moment, because also while I saw her lifted up in the ark, when I saw her do the spiral down and she had her hand up, it's like that painting completed that vision that I had,
what she was
because
reaching for.
Jesus's hand was, down in the water, and and she was reaching up. And so it just completed that vision as well. And so that was pretty miraculous.
I do love, though, this painting you're talking about, Matthew, and how I'm just imagining this on your wall and how it's forever going to be a way to always remember her,
Yeah.
but also remember God
Yeah.
and remember faith, because
No
it's
matter what,
mhm,
no matter what circumstance.
it's got both.
Yeah, it's got it all. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you guys, because there's going to be a lot of people that listen and they don't have faith, and so they're like, yeah, okay, maybe,
These
sure.
are coincidences, or yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that would have said, what if we would have done this? Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that comes up.
Did you,
Oh,
you
that
guys
comes
have
up.
had that?
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's part of the deal. That's part of the work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if we wouldn't have left? What if we should have turned on the TV and really watched the news and seen what the news said? Or we should have, when we got in the car and started driving, and we were blocked off on one of the ways to go. Well, that should have been a sign. We should have seen that sign and just gone home. Or like when the phone went off right before we hit the creek, we should have listened to that and pulled over. I mean, you can go over those things
Yeah.
in your head over and over and over and over. And
But the issue is, like, we've traveled hundreds of thousands of miles across the United States, and we've always made it. We've always found a way, and we always look at weather systems like, all right, we'll go this way.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always been delivered through it, from it, through it. And this time was different.
And even though you're saying, what if we would have gone this way or gone that way? Maybe you would have lost 2 children, 3 children, all of you.
Yeah.
We don't
We
know.
just don't
we
know.
don't,
We don't
know.
know.
Yeah,
Well,
this-
that's where
This
faith
is where surrender comes in, right?
surrender and God and
Yeah.
knowing His plan. Because, I mean, for any of us to have even made it out of that is a
It was
miracle.
a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the purpose in all this?
That's a great question.
I'm sure you lay awake at night. Like, what do we do with this?
For me, I know every single day I just want to be better for Malaya. So I'm just like, how can I get up today and be better for her? How can I be more principled? How can I be more organized? How can I be more thoughtful? How can I be more loving? How can I be more prayerful? How can I just live to be the best that I can be, for her, for myself, for our family,
And
for
the
everyone,
community,
and for
yeah.
the community. Yeah, for everyone, for God. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a similar answer. So I have a music ministry called Love Only Grows, and we write new devotional music all the time with people. And Malaya was a big part of that. Malaya loved to sing. She was an artist, a dancer, a singer, and just loved being with people and loved giving them her best. And, one of the things that the guiding lights of the ministry was like, what would Jesus do? Like, whatever Jesus did, we're going to do that. And now I have a corollary. It's, what would Malaya do? There's what would Jesus do? And also, what would Malaya do? So like Liz, I just want to be better for our daughter. And it keeps us connected with her. It keeps us in conversation with her. And it allows her goodness and her purity and her innocence to guide us. I want to see more innocence in the world. Not like Disney innocence.
No.
I mean like real, genuine innocence. Innocence in the face of what seems to be so much manipulation, what seems to be so much self-interest and materialism. I want to see more innocence. And our daughter was that. And there are other men and women like her. And I want to support these people because innocence is so important right now.
What do you think her mission would have been if she would have stayed? She's got a different one now on the other side.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that for a minute. Like, what were things
Thank you for that question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what she wanted to do is she was an artist and she really wanted to study art. But she also, one of her biggest things was she really wanted people to get along. She was all about love and people understanding each other, like us being separate and having different beliefs or different thoughts on certain things, but not ghosting, because we're such in a cancel culture, and ghosting people and
If
friends
you
that
have a
you've been
different
friends with
belief,
for
yeah.
years, then you like can just separate from them because your belief is this one thing and their belief is this other thing. And I know for her that she really struggled with that here. And just even looking at colleges, it was like, oh, well, this college is like a liberal, left leaning college. And it's like, oh, like that's just all they are. Or this is like a super conservative Christian right leaning college. And she just wanted to be somewhere where she could be in a place of both and everyone talk together and accept the different beliefs and still love each other.
Yeah,
That
because
was
Jesus went Jesus went first to the Samaritans and the Greeks and all of the what's called the Gentiles.
Mhm.
He had to go outside of his Jewish tribe to get other people. So and then of course his message was for everybody, for anybody who had ears to hear and a heart to feel. And Malaya was wired that way too. She's like, I just want us to really get along and see what's best and good within each other. And so,
No, that was one of her, like, she would have loved to have spread that message too, as well as art. And she loved working at the coffee shop. So that was kind of always a thought of hers, was to maybe have a little coffee shop with art.
Did she like
and
connecting with people? Okay,
loved
and
it.
that's why
She
she liked
loved
the coffee
connecting
shop.
people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was an amazing barista at Numinous up in Marble Falls. In fact, we're going to have an event there on Sunday where they're going to reopen the coffee shop at 5, and we're going to all do art together and music in honor of Malaya.
That's so beautiful.
And also singing. She was a part of Love Only Grows
Yeah.
with us, and she sang harmony.
That girl could sing harmonies like no one's business. Yeah.
So
It's tough. So those parts you really miss because you saw the way they were flowering forth and developing. And we had this feeling like, oh, can you imagine when she's in her 20s what she's going to be like? Can you imagine when she's going to be a mom and having kids, what her kids are going to be like? And that's all been taken. That part's been taken from us. And now we have to replace it with something. I'm sorry. We have to replace it with something deeper. We're learning a deeper form of love that everything up to this point had hinted at, had pointed to, but
in connection.
yeah, and experiencing it on a different dimension, this love that goes beyond what we thought was possible. This is what we're experiencing right now, and it's what's getting us through all the tears and the sense of loss, and because it can be overwhelming at times.
What would you say to people that are dealing with loss or have dealt with loss and they haven't had the faith like you guys have had? How do they start to have that faith?
Mm.
I mean, I didn't used to have faith, so I understand not having it. And I used to think that God was always condemning us and that
Always pointing the finger.
Yeah, I was
The
pointing,
man
and
in the sky.
I didn't
Yeah.
like that. And so I went away from faith for a while because I was like, that just does not feel good to me. And it came back to me because I was really listening. I mean, I would say be open because first of all, you have to be open. If you're completely closed off to it and you don't even want to believe and you're not interested in believing, then you're not going to be receiving anything. See, just being open and then really asking, because I feel like when you ask, you start to receive.
Yes.
And just listening, like just trying to be quiet so you can listen. Like you can ask, but then if you're not listening and you're not seeing anything, I mean, yeah, you have to be open, ask, and listen. It's basically it.
And
Yeah.
then when your heart's been broken so wide open, there's a period of grace where in the cracks there's room for something that wasn't there before. There's room for more light. There's room for more love. And we have a choice. We can allow love to fill it, or hatred, condemnation, right? More anxiety. The world has enough anxiety.
It sure does.
We need less, right? So when we have these cracks because of a tragic event, It's an opportunity to actually love more. And it seems so counterintuitive. But something miraculous happens because in the midst of this tremendous loss, like, how can we feel so much loss and so much pain and yet so much love all at the same time? And I know of no other way to reconcile that than this. There's a divinity effect at work here. God has designed us this way so we can actually get closer to God in these types of times. We can actually, and then it forges a new path. You can't go back to whatever your other habits were. You cannot go back. Number one, it would dishonor our daughter for us. Number two, we're happier and more content when we're closer to God, to the source of all creation, right? The source of all of this.
Because if you're going down into darkness and depression and anxiety, and that everything is just, we're all doomed, and like why
And the
should we even live anymore?
why
Like
did this
why
happen? Those
Well,
questions do
that all
nothing.
of that
Yeah,
is actually not of divine love and
that's
God.
right.
And so you're in an opposite place to even be welcoming that into your life. So it's really, I don't know, recognizing that and then trying to just be open and asking the questions.
You really start to see a whole new depth of love that you never saw before,
You do.
which I think with what you're saying, you can also see there's a whole nother depth of love that you can have for God as well. And for this next world that we're about to experience once we're beyond the physical.
Yeah. And that this worth, there are people who are going to say, well, this is a broken world we live in, and, full of broken people, and, maybe this world didn't deserve your daughter. And my answer is like, no, this world deserved her. This world is worthy of salvation. This world is worthy of wholeness. This world is worthy of lifting up. Like, this counts. This place counts. And it's worthy of our love and attention. And some of the people that we love have moved on to the other side of this world. And I know that they're giving us their prayers and their work. But while we're here, we need to love better.
Yeah.
Right. And like, love like your life depends on it, because it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a luxury. It's not an elective anymore. Like, we need to love better and deeper.
And sit in so much less judgment.
Yeah.
Yes, much less
Because
judgment.
babe, I mean, I feel fearless right now. I feel like nothing can hurt me any more than I've been hurt.
Yeah.
And when you're in that space, like, miracles can happen. And like, all right, God, work through me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not worried what people think about me. There's no self-consciousness. And so if for a family that's going through a loss like this is a chance to do, it's weird, but to do more for others. I can't explain it. It seems like you would want to collapse onto yourself and you've got to take time. We've taken time to grieve, for sure.
You
We've had
must
our
grieve
moments.
for sure. But definitely, like, what is your purpose?
I mean, when you're saying all this right now, I'm thinking about your son when he decided to go out and look for her, even though like he had just gotten himself out of the situation, and he's like, I'm going back in it.
Yeah. Not thinking about his safety.
It's not about him anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And that's a transformational act. Like, you can't go back after that. And so our world wants to be transformed into the place, it talks about a new heaven and a new earth. This is the new earth.
But this is what I want to share with people. And I want people to try to get to the place that you're at with a little less suffering. And when you were talking about faith and everything, I was thinking about my own too. I was the same. I suffered with depression, and I would constantly pray, like, stop making me hurt, stop making me hurt, make this go away, make this go away. And it wouldn't go away. And so then I'm like, well, then you're not real.
Right.
I asked you and you're not delivering. And I think so often we think it's that simple to just ask and then it is just delivered. And we have to understand that there's a reason when things are not delivered. I've been through so many different health things and thought I could just pray my way out of it. And I didn't, but I really believe that was very intentional on God's part for me to not just get out of it, because that would be too simple.
It's really powerful because, I love the preposition delivered from and delivered through. From is like, can you just get me out of here and take the feeling away, take the pain? Delivered through is you're in it, you're in the thick of it and you're working through it, and there's something in there. It's like when gold is refined in a furnace, it has to burn off the dross. There's no other way to do it. You can't just sit on the side in a comfortable temperature and like, okay, the dross, the impurities will go away. It has to be in the flames. And there's something about that crucible of life that does something for us. And we have two choices. We can surrender to it and let it make us better, or we can fight it.
And there's so many people that don't surrender and don't push through things when life is really hard. They just shut down and they give up. And they don't understand that these are the best moments of your life, because once you push through those things, there's something so great on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you gave birth to our sweet Malaya Grace almost 18 years ago, it was a 40-hour labor. And something wonderful was on the other side of that. Somebody held her. It was like, did you think about, that was the hardest experience of my life. Oh my gosh, I don't ever want to have 40 hours of labor. What do you feel when you're holding that beautiful, precious baby?
I just feel love.
You feel like, you are worth it all.
Beauty. Yeah. You don't even think about that. You just think about her. So.
And this is a new birth for our family right now. It's the wildest thing to.
You'll never stop missing her and wishing, you had those in-person moments. But I think you're going to have the deepest appreciation for the life that she did have.
Yeah, most definitely.
The hole in your heart doesn't really go away. I mean, we're only a month and a half into it, but it doesn't feel like it goes away. It just gets filled with something else. It gets filled with hopefully more love and more light.
Thank you guys so much, really, from the bottom of my heart, sharing this story.
Thank you for having us.
I hope we did her justice. I hope I did her justice, because
this was wonderful.
She's smiling right now.
Yeah.
These are the kind of conversations she loved the most. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you think she'd want you to say?
Just love each other more. And when I say love each other, it's not like put up with each other. This is not about tolerance. This is so much deeper. This is like, look at the people in front of you, wherever you are, the way that God looks at you with just unconditional, Christly love that pulls out the best, what's most transcendent in them. Treat people that way. Be that way with people, and something miraculous will happen. That would be her message.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.